Perspective on Florida Gateway College Television is sponsored by Nutrien. Nutrien, feeding the future.
Hello everyone and welcome to Perspective. This is a public affairs presentation of Florida Gateway College. My name is Mike McKee. Also like to welcome the listeners to this program on WQHL and WCJX Radio. We appreciate their listening to this program as well. Today my guests represent the Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center and the Stephen Foster Folk Festival, which is happening the weekend of May 24th, 25th, and 26th. We're going to talk to Andrea Thomas and Kim Rivers about the festival when we come back. Don't go away.
Discover new traditions with us.
It is 3 days of a celebration for Florida.
There's activities for the kids, there's amazing food, there's crafters, very family friendly.
You hear a lot of mixes of music, really special.
Culture.
Community.
Stories. It's relaxing, it's fun, and it's great people. What could be better?
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Buy your tickets now at floridafolkfestival.com.
A show now. We just saw the entire festival in 30 seconds. Andrea and Kim, thank you for being here. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
That's a pretty accurate, quick, concise commercial for the festival.
It is. It sort of goes through all of the little nuances, except, you know, there is a lot more.
Well, let's talk about, this is the 67th festival. And it's been happening at Stephen Foster all those years. How did it get started? How did the festival get started in the first place?
Well, it started in 1953, and it was Lillian Saunders and then Sarah Gertrude Knott, and it was the Florida Federation of Music Clubs. And they sort of all came together and put on a big folk festival.
They had established the memorial in the memory of Stephen Foster that made Florida famous with that old folks at home. You know, way down.
Yep. But I don't want to torture the viewers with my singing, but "Old Folks at Home" is the state song. It was written by Stephen Foster. Probably I don't recall what year.
1800s, Mike.
Yeah. And so Stephen Foster, so you know, actually never came to Florida.
No.
He was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And lived his entire life there and wrote all these great songs, "Oh Susanna," or "Camptown Races," lots of songs. And so this park was created in his honor on the Swanee River.
And it was where the Florida Folk Festival is held in White Springs. That's actually Florida's first tourist destination because of the springs there that were noted for the healing qualities of sulfur.
Yeah, there's a spring house up there. I mean, there's a lot more to see in White Springs than just going to the festival. There's the park itself and things like that. But let's talk about the festival. It got started because there were some music lovers that loved folk music back in the early 50s. And they decided to put a show on.
They did, and they brought people from all over the state to really showcase all the cultural traditions and the great music and the arts and all the culture of Florida, and we still continue that tradition.
Well, and let's talk about that because this is such a diverse state. You may see something in Pensacola that is totally the opposite of what you'd see in Key West or Hialeah or Miami, and so you've tried to encompass all of those traditions at the festivals. Talk about what the variety of things you're going to see up there.
Ooh, can I brag?
Yes, you can.
I would love to brag on this festival because it's not one festival, Mike. It's a lot of festivals in one. Food festival, dance festival, music festival, arts and crafts. Plus, you got the historic Swanee River, the Florida Trail, great fishing. So in a family where your interests are diverse, you can take part in a lot of things. My mom and daddy took me there in 1995. Mom's a city girl, dad was a country boy. And he could go fishing, and my mom could gorge herself on culture. You know, so you don't have to choose on Memorial Day weekend. You could do it all at the park at Florida Folk Festival.
Well, let's talk about, Andrea, the park itself. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I remember when we took a grade school tour.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You guys still do that?
We do. We do a lot of educational days and a lot of tours. And I mean, we've got our rural folklife days that we still do. There's an education aspect or an education day at Folk Festival, and that's on the Friday. So we invite homeschool schools.
And so what happens then? What happens on that?
So you can go to the different stages and the different performers, the different artists, and well, you can learn the entire weekend, except when on that Friday, you can go through and they will actually do more geared towards education standards on learning. So if you have a group or a class that you want to bring out, we're more than happy to have you.
Also, to encourage educational interest, we offer a great discount. So if one pre-registers by calling the park and calling me, then the adults and the children are $5 in educational groups, which makes it affordable, educational, and fabulously fun. I mean, kids don't even realize they're learning.
Well, and so you have Chickees there.
Yes.
And they're on display, and there are people there that can, and again, a Chickee, explain what a Chickee is and how the Seminole Indians use them.
So the Seminole Nation actually came up and built an area that they move into over the Folk Festival. So we have a stage there, but they'll do cooking, beadwork, music, storytelling. I mean, all sorts of things happen in that area. But the Nation had come in and built it up for us to where it's very authentic.
And I think Chief Billy takes an active role in
Oh, definitely.
the chief of the Seminole Nation.
For decades.
And he personally comes up, and because
yes.
he has knowledge of how Chickees are built and knows, and it's that important to him
Oh, yes.
and to his nation that it's done right.
And Chickees are like buildings in a regular community where each is built with a purpose. So there's a long one for working on canoe construction. There's one that's especially vented for cooking. You know, there's the large square one for gathering. It's really awesome to get to have people from the Seminole community interpret these buildings for you and a way of life that you can't easily see unless someone takes you, holds your hand, and walks you through.
Well, and the thing about Chickees, it's not a teepee.
No.
But if you don't want to call it that either when you're up there. But this is the housing that the Native Americans had, and they pretty much play it out as if
Yes.
it was when they were all by themselves here.
And they're palmetto thatched. So the roof is palmetto, and you stay amazingly dry.
Well, and the thing too, again, the Seminole Nation and the representatives are here to ask or hear questions.
Yes, they are.
And learn, because I mean, you think about you know, it's going to be pretty warm as it always is in the spring. It was warm back then too, and there was no air conditioning, so they had to be very resourceful about keeping it cool. So there's a lot of things you're going to learn up there, and I think it's pretty neat way. I was thinking about mosquitoes. You know, we complain about yellow flies and mosquitoes. There was no repellent back in the day, and so there are certain things they do with dog fennel to keep bugs off. So again, if you want to learn about the culture of Florida from its early beginnings, this is a great weekend to do it.
It definitely is. And we're actually going to have a Seminole storyteller in the Folklife area this year. So while we have our Seminole area, we also have the Florida Folklife program, which is the Department of State. And they will come in and they do their own stage. So I mean, we have our Brian Zapeta. I hope I'm saying his name right. He will be doing Seminole storytelling and stories about beadwork and everything. We've also got a balsa wood surfboard maker.
Yeah, 2 generations of traditional
yes.
balsa surfboard. There's Jaya, and Jaya constructs, I think it's called Rangoli, which is Hindu tradition where symbols and images are made in powder on the floor to bring good luck to your temple, to your home. And our artists are not schooled in a traditional sense. Our artists learn from generation to generation, and that is a definition by Florida law of the kind of things that we present. Not schooled artists, but people who have learned by generation and hold those traditions and present them for us to enjoy.
Now, I don't know if the Highwaymen are part of this, but that was a tradition of painting, African American painting, and then selling by the side of the road, thus the name Highwaymen.
Yes.
I'm not sure that
They've been guests.
They have been at the festival before, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there's again, you would never have known about the Highwaymen had you not gone to the festival or been a collector of art, as we do here at the college in our library. We have several Highwaymen paintings, and we have several artworks of local artists.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you're going to be able to see that up at the Folk Festival.
Oh, you do, and we actually have several local artists. I mean, Rachel Grubb, as a musician, will be performing this year, and we're super excited to have her. But I mean, the purpose of the festival is to really showcase everything that makes Florida so great. So I mean, we have the arts, we have the music, we have the culture, and it's
Food.
and the food.
Food.
Really highlighting all of these cultures that make Florida what it is.
You know, and it's the Memorial Day weekend,
It is.
as it always is. It's 24th, 25th. People equate the 30th of May or of being
Right.
Memorial Day. Memorial Day is falling a little earlier this year on the 20, I believe it's the 26th. But it's a great event. It's a family-friendly event.
It is.
I mean, I don't know, I think we got some video that we shot a while back of the park itself, and to get a feel for the park. And you can go into the Culture Center.
Yes, our museum. Oh yes, and our tower.
There's the Bell Tower, which is awesome. I mean, if you've never been there, this is your opportunity to see it in Stephen Foster in full swing. This is the Culture Center. The first thing you see when you drive in.
It is. It's beautiful. And actually, inside that room right there, during the folk festival, are luthiers. So it's handmade instruments, and you can commission. You can talk to them, and I mean the instruments that they create are absolutely gorgeous.
There's our museum guide, Miss Pat.
Oh yes.
So we've really got two different parts. During the Folk Festival, it's a buzz, it's alive. There are people from all over Florida, but if you come on a quiet day, Miss Pat will take you in a walk back in time and give you total history.
Oh yes.
On White Springs and Stephen Foster.
Now they are playing in this room.
So it's in that room, in that yellow room in the museum or in the memorial is the luthiers. So it's all the handmade instruments, and they will play those instruments.
And those are the dioramas.
Yes. Yes, our dioramas, which were.
This is Camptown Races, if I.
Yes, it is.
And it actually moves. You
Yes,
see the
it does.
horses move, and this was Camptown Races. The song "My Old Kentucky Home" was another one of Stephen Foster's songs.
Oh, he did over 200 songs.
You know, and way down upon the Swanee River, and it's Ribber, but you know the story behind the Swanee River?
For the spelling?
He needed something that
Oh
rhymed.
yes. So he needed 3 syllables, and originally it was going to be
The Petey.
the Petey River.
It's not very poetic.
No, it doesn't sound real good, does it?
No. So he actually pulled out a map, and we have the desk that he inside the museum, the desk that he pulled the map out on, and looked around and saw Swanee, changed the spelling a bit so that it fit the song, and it flowed very well.
Which explains, again, he never was here,
No.
but thank goodness he wrote that song,
Oh, yeah.
because it has been a great fit in the White Springs community. And again, White Springs loves having this festival every year because it helps some of the businesses there. But it's again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's a sleepy little town. But it comes alive the Memorial Day weekend for the Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center's honoring folk culture and the Florida Folk Festival. We're going to talk some more about the festival, including who the headliners are at this year's Florida Folk Festival when we come back. Don't go away. You're watching Perspective on FGC TV.
Memories and discover new traditions with us.
People will spontaneously start moving and dancing to the most amazing music.
You can find the kind of music you want to hear.
I call it a cultural potluck supper with the most delicious dishes of dance and music from all the ethnic groups who have settled in Florida, which means it's a huge melting pot, and it's so much fun.
You just witnessed another commercial for the FloridaFolkFestival.com. I mean, if you, and again, my guests are Kim Rivers and Andrea Thomas, who represent the Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center in White Springs. Again, the biggest event you do every year is the Florida Folk Festival.
One of them, it is. We do 3 of the largest events in the state park system. So we have the Florida Folk Festival. We also have our Festival of Lights, and we also do the Olesti Battle Reenactment.
Right, and that takes place in February of every year. The Christmas lights are
December.
Around December, and then, again, if you haven't been to that, you need to go because again, it's like the park is not always busy, you know, steady traffic, but during the Festival of Lights, the park is lit up. Almost every inch of Stephen Foster is lighted. And they do popcorn, they do
cocoa and Santa.
And hopefully it's cold so you can enjoy the park. But this festival, Florida Folk Festival, started, what'd you say, in 1953? And it seems like it's gotten bigger and bigger. You got John Anderson as the headliner. John is from
Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Seminole Wind was one of his big hits.
Oh, yes.
And in that song, he lists Micanopy, and he lists all these Native American names in his song. He also did Swingin' was one of his big songs. But he is from Florida.
He is.
And what better way to highlight a person who sings about Florida and bringing John Anderson as the headliner. So that's a coup. That's a good deal.
Oh, he's a great guy too. He really enjoys the festival, and he's a good promoter of it.
It seems like there are like individuals that come to this that perform. John McEwen and the String Wizards, and he was
one of the founders of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Right, and they had one of their big hits was Mr. Bojangles, and he had a great
Fishing in the Dark.
Fishing in the Dark, yeah. Again, John McEwen from Florida.
Is John McEwen from Florida? I don't remember, and we just read his bio. Or is he from California and the other gentleman was from Florida?
Well, I can guarantee that we will not feature an artist without Florida connection.
Well, and the other thing is, come to the festival and ask him.
That's right. He does do workshops, and he loves talking
that's
to people.
another beauty of this thing is, like, I remember, Andrea, you got me into the park, and I shot some video up there, and I'm walking with you, and we're shooting video, and I start hearing this guy, and he's singing a song, and he's talking about the words and how they came about, and why he wrote this, and how he wrote, and it was Billy Dean, and he is engaged with the audience.
Oh, yes.
Like he's like an everyday guy, and you would never know that he was a multi-platinum sales in country music. I mean, Billy Dean had some really big hits.
Oh, yes, he did. And that's one of the great things about our festival. So a lot of our performers, they teach workshops. Like Billy Dean does a songwriter workshop, and that's that you had gone up to. Yeah,
and I think for young people who may fiddle at the guitar, fiddle at the fiddle, this would be a great opportunity to actually get a chance to talk to somebody.
Oh, yes.
And because they've been there, and I'm sure every young person who has a guitar has a dream of making it professionally. And having that hit record or hit song that's going to make them a fortune, and it's a tough road to hoe. And when you hear the stories about how that happened, it's really inspiring, and it's also one of a kind a chance of a lifetime opportunity for people.
Oh yeah, we encourage people to bring their instruments as well. I mean, we have jam tents, and then we also have the workshops. So I mean, you can jam with some of the performers, you can take a workshop, and they really do a one-on-one with the visitors, and that's what they love to do because it allows them to connect with their audience.
You hit on a great thread, Mike. So it's not just that our big star performers are down home, even our guests. It's a great place to make friends for the day or friends for a lifetime.
Well, and you know, the thing that I really enjoy about it is when you go up there, a lot of these people, this isn't their first time. They've been over and over again because they enjoy it so much, and they know that they're going to be entertained. They know they're going to be able to get some good food. They may even be able to buy a one-of-a-kind art item.
Oh yes.
And again, that the stuff is on sale.
It is.
Not only are these artists displaying their wares, and so you can appreciate it, but if you see something you got to have.
Well, it's just like with our poster art. It's Keith Martin Johns is the artist, and he actually lives in Chiefland, and he does workshops, everything, but his artwork is so detailed, and the beauty of the painting, it looks so realistic.
Well, and you know,
crazy.
I don't know, Richie, if you can see this. That's a boat.
It is.
It looks like an abandoned boat that's maybe at low tide. And you know, this is a scene that you could see maybe in Steenhatchee, or you could see it somewhere along the Gulf Coast, and you see the birds that, you know, that's. I mean, if you drove down to Steenhatchee today, I may have seen this, or I may have seen something in somewhere else.
He captures sunsets over marshes, and I mean, he does a lot of different Florida landscapes and scenes, and it's just, you can buy one of his original pieces at the festival. I mean, you can buy furniture and jewelry, I mean, all of these handmade items that are from Florida.
And there is, you can't do it in an hour.
Oh no.
I mean,
You can't do it in 3 days.
Well, no,
Right.
you
For
wouldn't.
12 stages, over 300
You wouldn't want to do it in an
performances.
hour.
Oh, no.
You'd want to go to. You said 12 stages.
12 stages. Oh,
Over
yes.
300 performances. And we're not even talking about demonstrations.
That's just the performances. I mean, between the storytelling and then the different artists. I mean, we have one that she plays the zither and they paint in the Folklife area, and then we've got drumming, dancing.
Yeah, I saw some steel drums because that Caribbean influence is in South Florida, and that is on display. You've got people that clog.
Yes, we do have
I mean,
cloggers.
I'm sure that if you wanted to learn how to clog,
They'll teach you.
they'll teach you how to clog.
We even have a techno-contra dance.
Now that
is wild.
intrigues me because I saw some psychedelic stuff in the commercial that
Yes,
we were.
That was it. Eye of the Monkey.
Eye of the Monkey.
Yes, they do a techno-contra dance, and I mean, it's the black light, the laser lights.
So I'm looking at the two young men that we have working camera today. That would probably appeal to them.
Oh yes.
That would. So would all the beautiful people. If you're single, gentlemen, it's a great place to meet people. Their families coming now. That when they were y'all's age, they met, dated, made families. Now their kids are bringing their kids.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was young once, and it's a great place to shop for beautiful people with great souls.
Well, that's one thing we didn't think of until just now. But that is a good. Again, it's a chance to see if you like folk music. I mean, even if you like any kind of music, doesn't
yeah.
matter what kind of music.
All kinds.
Oh yeah, every genre of music is offered. It's not just folk. I mean, folk is our name because we're celebrating folk life and folk culture. But I mean, we do have folk music, but we have country music. We actually have a Firewater Tent Revival is going to be here, and they're
Talk a little bit about the Firewater Tent
like a
Revival. That sounds like
bluegrass.
it could be a Firewater and Revival.
They have got a big spirit of fun.
And we're not talking spirits. We're talking spirit.
Well, not at our festival.
Right. It is.
But we do have a beer tent.
Oh, you know, that's another thing that I wanted to ask you, because a lot of people like to have a few adult beverages while they're walking around, and so you do. I think local beer distributor.
We actually have Hal Powder this year.
Hal Powder.
The Hal Powder microbrewery is going to be at
What better way? Hal Powder Tuscanoogie was the Native American chief from Lake City, and that's what Alligator was was the first name here of Lake City, and they have a brew named after that Indian chief.
Oh yes, but they will be our honored beer this year.
We're celebrating all things Florida.
Oh yes.
If it's Florida, we want it.
Including spirits,
yes.
Which is a good thing. You know, Billy Dean's going to be there. You have Ben Prestige.
Oh, he's great.
Now,
he's
talk
great.
a little bit about Ben. We always talk about Ben when you're here. He's the one-man act.
He is, and last year he actually had his brother with him, but even with his brother, it's still they're basically, he's a one-man band. Ben is. And then when his brother comes in, it sort of adds that extra step. But I mean, his performances are definitely something not to miss.
Brother, Tony Rocks, Tom Shedd. Now I've met Tom.
Oh yes.
In fact, I think Tom did the show here.
I think he did.
A couple years ago. I'd love to have Tom back because he played some songs. Frank Thomas, Cordadito. Wild Shiners.
Little short.
Taller Balance.
Which is actually Bamba.
Taller Balance.
She could do the names a lot better than I. But
Parabalala Bamba, right?
Oh, but
it's bomba.
Bomba.
It's a Puerto Rican tradition that's a kind of conversation between drummer and dancer. It's improvised.
And I see the stuff you're learning right now, you can even learn 10 times that at the festival. We're going to take our last break of the program today. We'll close it out with showing you how you can get tickets, and we hope to see you there. So we'll be right back. Don't go away.
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I guess, eve of Memorial Day weekend, where the festival is going to happen up at Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center. How do you get tickets to this, and how much are they?
So you can go on FloridaFolkFestival.com and you can buy advance tickets. And in advance, the weekend for all 3 days is $50. The day ticket is $25, and then kids 6 to 16 are $5 for the whole weekend. And well, under 6 is free. Now, if you buy them at the gate, which is also possible, but we do recommend going online, FloridaFolkFestival.com. But at the gate, weekend 3-day passes are $60, day passes are $30, kids 6 to 16 are still $5 for the whole weekend, and under 6 is still free.
What a great deal! $50 for 3 days.
Oh yes.
Of entertainment. I mean, you'd pay $50 for
a movie
ticket to John Anderson. Or maybe even more to go see a John Anderson concert, but you're going to see him and more than 300 performers, 12 stages, entertainment, food, even Hal Patter Brew. And I'm going to get with Chris about all these plugs we're giving him at Hal Patter.
Children's area and a great playground, so you don't hire a babysitter. Bring them.
Oh yes.
Bring your kids. Bring grandma.
Oh yes.
This is something for everyone in the family. Stephen Foster Folk Culture Center this Memorial Day weekend. Kim Rivers and Andrea Thomas, thank you so much for being on the program today. And thank you for watching Perspective on FGC TV. Until next time, I'm Mike McKee. So long.